additional resources that he has. Highly recommend following him on that. Without further ado, let's give him a warm welcome. Brother Abdullah, the floor is yours.
Assalamu alaikum. May the peace and blessings of Almighty God be upon each and every one of you. Do we need a microphone, or you guys can hear me well? It's fine?
Yeah.
Bismillah, alhamdulillah, wa salatu wa rasulullah. We start in the name of God and ask Him to send His peace and blessings upon the final messenger. The topic was the rational foundations of Islam. What do you guys think that's about? Try to keep it interactive. What do you guys think that's about? Rational foundations of Islam. What is that about?
Maybe like scientific reasons
Scientific reasons that
prove why
Islam is correct. Love it. What does that mean? Rational foundations of Islam. What is that?
Like your opinion.
Okay, Aqidah. Can you translate what is? Most people here are probably not Arabs, and some maybe aren't Muslim. I don't know. Aqidah. What does that mean?
Like your foundational belief.
Foundational beliefs. Aqidah. From aqid to tie a knot. It's like the most important things as a Muslim. It's what makes you, what binds you. The contract you have between you and Allah is your belief in God and so on. Aqidah. Beautiful. It's a subject. Studying who God is. It's related. 100%. What else? Rational foundations of Islam.
Certain philosophical reasons why you might believe in the various pillars of Iman,
Sure.
God.
So we have these core beliefs, we have theology, but using like falsely like to argue that these things are correct. So like people of other religions. All the above was correct. Bismillah. First and primary belief. What makes a Muslim is first and primary belief. Tawheed, which is, again, most people here are non-Arabs, and then some people might not be Muslim, I don't know. Tawheed, what does that mean?
There is no deity worthy of worship in truth except Allah Azza wa Jalla.
Okay, so the first primary belief is one God. God exists and God is one. Is that fair? So we'll start from there. And we might not get past that, obviously there's a lot of beliefs, but those are the foundations. God exists and God is one. Who feels that they're confident enough that they can tell us, and maybe speak to a non-Muslim audience or Muslims that are struggling with their faith, and tell them that we have good reasons, rational reasons, right, logical reasons, scientific reasons to believe that God exists. Besides, my parents told me, it makes sense to me. I had an experience in my life, and all those are bad things. Nothing wrong with it. I grew up Muslim and I love it. Me and my friends are all Muslim and we enjoy it. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. I had experiences in my life that brought me closer to God. Nothing wrong with that. Faith is experiential, fine. But how about someone who had different experiences being Christian, different experiences being Hindu? It's not really like 10 out of 10 solid, enough for a conversation or a discussion or a dialogue. And definitely not at an academic level. Being experiential is kind of, maybe a podcast, maybe you and your friends chatting. You guys understand the question? Who feels confident that they could put forth, like, I believe that God exists? There's good reasons for it, and it's not just, it's my culture, I'm Pakistani, I'm Egyptian, you feel you can. Okay, give me a couple words, a couple sentences, give me your best.
My favorite argument for God in Arabic is called Burhan al-Siddiqi.
Okay. First time hearing about it, but I might know it.
Ibn Sina.
Ibn Sina.
In sum, it more or less says that everything has an explanation.
Everything has an explanation, okay?
Everything has an explanation. And it divides between things whose explanation is other than themselves and things whose explanations are themselves.
Some things are contingent, some things are independent in themselves.
Necessary division.
And the universe is what?
He
Does it exist in of itself? Can it explain itself, or does it need something to explain it? The universe is contingent.
He says either way, it's contingent or necessary. In any case, if you take this argument, there's always a necessary.
All right, we're done, guys. You can go home. The universe is not good. There's one of many ways to go forward, but he's saying the universe, you can't explain it in and of itself. You need something to explain it. It's not independent completely on its own, which fits with science. We said science earlier. It fits with science. So philosophy and science, they go together. Theology and science, they go together. You need it. Let's do it this way. If we go back in time, can someone real quick check the video, like the angle, how does this look? It's good. Is it recording? I don't know if I click record. You go back in time, the beginning of time, space, energy. The beginning of time, as far back as we can go. And then the universe starts, right? Scientists of our times are calling it what? What is that called? The beginning? This is a show that I thought was the biggest waste of time ever named after it. It's called what?
The Big Bang.
The Big Bang. The Big Bang is the best model we have. So if you want to take science, and generally Muslims do, unless there's a clash with religion, we'll get to that, which I don't know of any. But theoretically, of course, Allah comes before everything else. Allah created the universe. Science is our study of the universe. That's our study of Allah's creation. So by definition, there will be no contradiction between God and science, the Quran and science. But yeah, the beginning of time, space, energy, the Big Bang, and so on, the beginning of the universe, that tells us a number of things. That tells us that the universe hasn't always been here. Fair enough? If there's a beginning, it means it's not infinite. There's a beginning to the universe, right? It's called the Big Bang. The universe, there was nothing, started, is constantly expanding, and that is among the reasons, or that's like the part of the evidence, or the main evidence for the Big Bang Theory, is that we have proof that currently today, the universe is expanding, which a lot of people say is in the Quran, the ayah about, وَإِنَّا لَمُسْرِعُونَ. Not really the point right now. The universe is expanding, because if the scientific evidence is there, then Muslims you don't go against it, you don't need to deny it or anything. The data shows the universe is expanding, therefore logically, then if it's expanding, just like right here today, it's at 8 out of, it's 8 billion, whatever, XYZ units, 8 billion, but every day is going 9 billion, 10 billion. You go back in time, it's going to be what? 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Obviously very simple, oversimplified, but some of you guys are probably interested in this topic, you can Google it, there's a lot of research on this. But the Big Bang is saying that there's a beginning and the universe is expanding. The universe began to exist. That tells us it hasn't always been here. Logically, rationally, what are the options? What are the possibilities? What are the possible, when you say explanations, what are the possible explanations for how the universe got here? It hasn't been here forever. So then what are the options? I know as Muslims, you're already thinking, why do we gotta go through this? There's one God, created the universe. Easy. That's fine, but put yourself outside of your box for a second, outside of your beliefs.
There could be parallel universes. And
There could be different universes. What else? Skip that. That's not one of the options I'm considering right now, because I'm saying whether there's the only universe or there's other universes, this universe though, we're focusing on this universe. The proof is that the evidence is saying that it had a beginning point. I'm asking what came before that, or what caused it to start. What are the different possibilities? Not what we believe as Muslims, what are the possible answers someone could have? Different universes doesn't answer where the universe came from. That doesn't answer. Well, yeah, nothing. That's number one. The universe began the Big Bang, and before that there's nothing. I'm not saying it's logical or rational. It isn't, obviously. It's definitely not what we believe as Muslims, but it's a possible answer. What possibilities? We'll go through them logically.
Was always there.
The universe has always been here. Okay, that's technically possible, but we just said that the Big Bang and the evidence is showing that the universe hasn't always been here. It had a starting point. You can either have a starting point or you've always been there. Yeah? It had a starting point, so it has not always been here. It's an array. Well, we don't know. Well, we know as Muslims it's going to end, but let's say we don't know if it's going to end or not. So it's either it's either an array or it's a segment, but it's definitely not a line in both directions because it had a starting point. Everyone's with me? Is this making sense? It has a starting point, so no, that's not an option. Nothing is an option, technically. There's 4 options. You guys got this. Take your time. Take your time. Just going to see the angle. How's it? Okay. So looks good. I can have pizza while we talk. Is that too casual? Is that okay? Yeah. I'll give you guys. You guys are thinking, yeah? Eating and thinking. As a group, you can't come up with 4 options of where the universe came from. Come on, guys. It's one of the most powerful cities in the world. And you guys are in university. Like it's too early in your life to shut off your brain and not think about new ideas and answer questions you haven't thought about before and think through things that you might have assumed already. Bismillah. Possibilities. And if you say it, it's not actually true or not correct or doesn't make sense, and I respond like you don't gotta. There's nothing wrong with that. Part of learning. While you guys do this, I want to say this. It's a complete tangent. It's not relevant to our topic today, but it's something I'm passionate about. And I said this yesterday as well to Benedictine. One of the negative effects of going to school. I'm not saying don't go to school. I'm not saying college is a scam or anything like that. That's technically not correct, but there's some points there. But it's not correct to say that we don't need learning systems. We don't need higher education. We don't need colleges. But one of the negative effects, or I should say, one of the things that you will, inshallah, as you leave, you will eventually leave. One of the things you have to maybe, and it took me years to kind of have a mindset shift and to be more successful in life, is to realize that the idea of we have schools and grades, and then like if you get one thing wrong at it, like your grade goes down, and so you better not try things or not guess or not guess. What am I trying to say? Trying something and maybe failing at it, like failure is not a small thing in the school system, right? Like a failure is a big deal. Okay, but in real life, like the bigger the goal is and the more you want to accomplish, and the bigger the business or organization you want to grow, by definition you're gonna try a million things and like 999 are not gonna work out. So different of a mindset. Like, anyways, we'll leave it for Q&A, inshallah. I was buying you guys time. My point was that like if you say something that's wrong, you probably learn more than everyone else. You remember the topic more. It's like it benefits you. It doesn't hurt you to get it wrong in real life, depending on what it is. Obviously not hurting other people, but trying things and failing, that's how you learn. Come on, guys.
It started itself.
Okay, the universe created itself. The other one was what? Nothing. We got 2. There's 4 options.
Something else started.
Huh?
Someone started.
Or something, let's say something, which person or another planet or another, like these are general boxes. There's so many possible explanations, but they all fit into one of these 4 boxes. Nothing, itself, something. Make sense? There's nothing else really. Nothing created the universe. It created itself or came from something. Is that fair? The reason I said 4 is because something is also 2 types of something. We'll get there. Huh? Evolution theory starts after the Big Bang. It's a good point. Yeah, that's biology and changing, the genetics changing, the species changing, generation. That starts after the Big Bang. Big Bang is the beginning of physics and chemistry. Beginning of time, space, energy. That's physics. Yeah. Beginning of science total, and then biology and So human life and then the changing of animals, plants, the other species, and so on. That starts after Big Bang. which also that right there, well, it's not the topic today because we can't talk about 10 things all in 1 hour or less. The fact that people think that like it's either you believe in God or believe in evolution, or obviously different types of evolution, but the general sense of like things change with time, there's absolutely no contradiction. That's a misunderstanding. Even Richard Dawkins said it. He said like, yo, believing in evolution doesn't mean you don't believe in God, but he hopes that people don't believe in God. He's anti-religious. Right there, there's no contradiction. If there's a God, create the universe. It's the beginning of the Big Bang, and then things evolve afterwards. It's two separate things. It makes sense. Theology, philosophy is one thing. Science is something else. But it's just tangent. Let's go back. Nothing itself, something. Okay, let's start with the first one. Could the universe have come from nothing? Maybe.
No.
Why? A lot of times in life, the why is more important than the what. Why? Why is it a no? Because you're Muslim and you don't believe so? That's weak.
If things could come out of nothing, we would expect them to continue to come out of nothing. So we would expect perhaps a boat could appear in the sky and just fall in. But nothing like this has ever happened.
You guys seen those posts on social media, like those memes? It's like a sandcastle. It's like perfectly well done. Like it took one person hours, or took like a whole team hours to build this whole thing. It's like, yeah, maybe the waves hit the shore just right and it made a sand. It's impossible, right? You guys seen that one or no? That sandcastle, like it's like atheist logic or something. Or like the a phone. A phone is made of what? Plastic, rubber, metal, silicone, glass. Is that pretty much everything? Metals. Okay. All those things are found on the ground, right? Or on the surface. Well, plastic and rubber are synthetic. People made them in a factory, but they come from sand, rubber, glass. Sorry, glass comes from sand. Anyway, it's all natural ingredients, right, or natural resources. So what if someone is walking by and you see a phone on the ground? Do you think it's logical at all as a possibility, even 1%? You might think that it just came out, like it just created itself. Maybe after thousands of years, though. Evolution. Who said evolution? Maybe thousands of years. The oil from the ground. Rubber comes from oil. Glass comes from sand. Someone can Google that. I'm pretty sure. I took organic chemistry and that kind of stuff. That was like 10 years ago. Right, so after thousands of years, maybe the oil bubbled up to the surface, and the wind blew, and the sun shone, and then like whatever erosion, I don't know what, some processes, and then you have a phone. Possible or it's impossible? But maybe it's possible. So that's what he's trying to say, right? That's your argument, right? It's like no one would ever believe that. That's illogical. The phone just came out by itself. You're gonna think either it was put there or someone dropped it there, someone lost it there, or it maybe rolled there, but not it came out of the ground. And then that sandcastle on the as soon as you look at it, you can maybe the next day. You don't, it's been the waves have hit it. There's no one around. You see that sandcastle, you know right away as soon as you see it. You don't know who did it. You don't know if it's one or more people. You don't know how long it took them. You can't guess that stuff. But right away you know that this person purposely made it because you see how it was designed. It's a castle with different. You can tell that person had a plan and then made it happen. And design indicates a designer. So that's a great point. Okay, so nothing. Are we still on nothing, or you guys we can move on? The universe came from nothing. Nothing comes from nothing. Something comes from something. Something has never ever can't ever come from nothing. So he's saying we've never seen it anywhere else. If it ever happened, so we're gonna assume. We're trying to be logical. We're trying to be rational. It's the whole point. The rational foundation of Islam. We're trying to be rational. In our lifetimes, but also in the history of humanity, we've never seen anything, touched anything, heard anything, observed anything that ever came out of nothing. Something that just happened with no cause and no explanation. Or even not just see, those are the senses, right? That's empirical. Forget about empirical even. Nobody in the history has ever put forth any logical arguments on explaining that something can come from nothing. But we're supposed to assume that the whole universe came from nothing. Like, bro. That's what you're trying to say, right? You did it. That was an excellent point, Michelle. All right, so the universe didn't come from nothing. So if you guys are, we have a marker or no? Or you guys can do it in your head? Are you guys following? It's a lot of stuff. Is this, yeah?
Yeah.
I don't want that to happen. You're right on the wrong board, the wrong marker or something. But yeah, so universe, uni for universe, not university, uni. See.
Here you go.
Yo, it's like university. Yo, the word university comes from the word universe. I never thought about it. I was trying to do an act. I was trying to do an act for universe. It's fine. Nothing. That's crazy. No, I honestly never thought about it. I feel like I'm one of those crazy professor who's like genius but crazy at the same time. Nothing. Okay, itself. I don't know how clear it is from the back. I should went bigger.
Can you use a black marker, please? It's kind of hard
Something.
to see.
It's not very visible.
Yeah, no, it's not really visible.
At least it'll help me make sure I don't miss my. I'll try to use what? Are these you sure about these?
Yeah.
It's on him.
Yeah, it's on me.
From the president.
Take full responsibility.
Dry erase marker, magnetic. That is a magnetic erase marker. So that's gonna take forever. It's small. This is better now. It's thicker. Okay. The universe came from nothing. We said no. Nothing has ever come from nothing. Something always comes from something. Okay. You'd be interested to know. I don't know if you guys know this. I don't know if you have an interest in studying atheism or other ideologies, other religions, and so on. For me, I had a number of years of studying it, so I understand it better. But the majority of atheists, agnostics, secularists, someone can correct me if I'm wrong. I don't have to expert on these things, but no one really is claiming that the universe came from nothing. Well, not, I shouldn't say no one's claiming that, but it's not like the dominant view. It's not like most people that are agnostic atheists are saying nothing came from the universe. In fact, some of the leading atheists, Richard Dawkins, Sam Harris, and some of the biggest atheists, Stephen Hawking, right? You guys remember he passed away like, was it 5-6 years ago? He was in a wheelchair, right? He said, and I didn't read the book, so I'm not claiming to read it, but my friend read it and told me that he said in his book, basically, the conclusion was that the universe came from, before it, there was definitely no God, he's obviously he's an atheist. He's saying there was some sea of fluctuating energy came before the universe. Sea of fluctuating energy. And I'm sure it's a whole book, so I don't know the details. But anyway, that's enough to say that's not nothing. But they just don't want to basically believe that there's a God, which is fine. Okay, we'll get back to that. So a sea of fluctuating energy would fall under number 3. So even atheists are saying something. They just debate what the something is. Fair enough. Itself. The universe created itself. It's huge. Yes or no? The universe is big or small? Big. Complicated or simple? So maybe it didn't need, like, God is just, people human beings love to believe in, like, somebody in the sky cares about us in the sense of their only begotten son to die for our sins, or sends prophets to the Quran, and it is just fairy tale beliefs. Like, like, do you believe in Zeus and Poseidon and Greek mythology and Roman mythology? No. How about the what was the people that came, the North Canada, North Europe, what are they called, the Vikings and so on? They had their own, was it Nordic, whatever, they had their own gods and so on. So for a lot, and then there's, Hinduism has many different gods, yeah? So maybe Allah, or the God of Abraham, Moses, etc., the Christian Jewish God, maybe it's just another story. Possible, no? Can you see how somebody can sincerely come to that conclusion? That's living in our times. The majority of the world, I don't know, the fastest growing worldview is not actually Islam. Islam is number 2, fastest growing. It's agnostic, secular, liberal, atheist, unaffiliated, unchurched, unmosqued. If you put that as one category, that's the fastest growing. Inshallah, that will change. But yeah, so you can see how they'll say, like, okay, believing that there's a God who, in the sky, who, is heaven and hell and stuff. You can see how they will think that that's made up stories, which of course it's not. And the Quran actually says so. It's like you're saying that these are made up stories. The whole Quran and the life of the Prophet is all proof that there's something bigger. But anyways, I was buying you guys time. Help me out. The universe created itself. It's big, complicated. It created itself. You don't need for a God or made up stories. It's maybe because back in the time we didn't really understand science, right? But when someone got sick, we said, I don't know, it's whatever, you have to mix something cold, something hot, I don't know, I don't even know this stuff. Like, some cultures today still have some of this stuff, right? Hold it up. Maybe there's some basis to it, I don't know. People come up with other different types of medicine. It's because we don't have modern medicine. Or we didn't understand the rain, so we said there's a God of the rain. There's a God. You can see how someone would think that, like, Islam is basically made up. So yeah, but now we understand science, and we understand physics and astronomy. So the universe created itself, it's complicated, it doesn't need a God. That's just people put that as a placeholder because they didn't understand how the universe and how science works. I'm obviously not arguing. Are you guys with me? This is not what I'm saying. I'm saying these are like counter arguments, or these are other worldviews. But what do you guys think? How do you respond to that? No, the universe did not create itself. But how are you certain? We know we don't believe that, but like, how can you put forth the logic and the rationale that the universe didn't create itself? Maybe science can explain the universe itself. You don't need a God or a prophet or whatever.
We usually say like it's random, like clusters of energy, right? So it's like a random formation, but there's too much programming or design for it to be random.
It's not random.
Yeah.
It's not itself.
No.
Hold on, we're gonna get to that. Or something when we talk about. Richard, what did he say? Stephen Hawking said, sea of fluctuating energy. Now you said what? Clusters of energy. Yeah. Some of you guys might be more knowledgeable about these topics than I am. I don't know the science behind it so much. I just, Aqidah and belief system is my forte. Something I'm very passionate about. But we'll get back to that. But how about this? Has anything ever, history of humanity, going back to this point, right? Explanation. Has anything ever created itself? So let's leave the universe. Anything that we know of. Have we ever seen, touched, felt, observed anything to ever create itself? Ever. Animal, plant, human, solar system, planet, anything. Inanimate object or living being, a living species or anything ever? Okay, we didn't see it, touch it, feel it, fine. There's so much that we can't see, touch, feel it. The ocean, we haven't even seen the ocean. Okay. Has anybody ever in the history ever put forth an argument that something can create itself? Right? So rational or empirical, or what are other types of like knowledge and science and other types of other types of knowledge? Nothing? So how's it even an option? Nothing has ever created itself, but we think the universe created itself? Does that make sense? Who can tell me now why? You said why sometimes is more important or just as important. Why is it impossible for anything to create itself? Do you mind if I give them like maybe a whole minute or two? I take a bite out of pizza. If no one has it, then you can answer it. But Mashallah, you thought about these things clearly. You researched them. Is it related to, what's your major, if you don't mind me asking?
Mechanical engineering.
Okay, but you're passionate about these topics. It's not related to your topic, Mashallah. May Allah use you for a force of good. Inshallah, hopefully you'll be able to impact hearts and minds with Allah's permission, of course. What's your name? Omar. Abdullah, nice to meet you. I'm giving you guys a minute to think about it, yeah? Nothing has ever created itself. It's absolutely impossible for something to create itself, but why? How come? Why is it impossible? Think.
Well, I mean, what comes to mind is conservation of energy and conservation of matter.
Okay.
If something needs to create itself, where would that energy or where would that matter
Hmm.
be coming from?
You guys think that's good? I like it. It's not the way I was going to explain it, but there's not one way to explain things.
I think it's a whole chicken and egg theory. Like, how can something create itself
That's the way I was going to go.
if it is not yet created?
And if you don't mind, I give this presentation, I don't know, like not 100 times, but like, you know, many, the number of cities, number of countries, since I was like freshman, sophomore, so it's been like 10 years, 9 years. And I had another one. I'm not sure what I was gonna say, but it's basically the same argument. If you don't mind, from now on, I'm gonna use the chicken and egg because that's an easier way. And also, I'm gonna give you this kind of disgusting analogy, but it makes the point. But I like that chicken or the egg. Can a mother give birth to herself? But how come though? Why? Again, the why is this pizza's spicy, man. I don't do spicy. But why am I surprised? I mean, like, you guys are mostly tasty, huh? I grew up. Majority of my friends are Pakistani and Bangladeshi. I don't know why the spice. I would have thought as I grew older, like I'll just get used to spicy food. I never did. Except butter chicken. I love butter chicken. You know, that's my favorite. Top 5 dishes I think on the planet. Butter chicken. But Indian food overall is like not my favorite. I prefer like Italian, Arab, Mexican, sushi, steak. But butter chicken is. And then the other day someone had to like break my heart. It's been my favorite food for a while. One of my favorites. The other day someone was like, well, it's not actually authentic Indian food. Like, well, why didn't you tell me that? Like, what is that? I was living just fine. I was like, it's like, oh, this is Bengali. I'm thinking, okay, that's for me, that's fine. Bengali, they did it in Britain. It's actually, you know, the queen is British. I'm like, bro, British now. Now every time I eat butter chicken, I'm thinking about the British. I was enjoying my butter chicken, but anyways, bismillah. Where were we? Where were we, guys? And I said, can a mother give birth to herself? Well, why?
She already exists.
Huh?
She already exists.
How do you know? I didn't tell you she. I said, can a mother give birth to herself? How do you know she exists? Well, if she doesn't exist, then it's possible?
No.
There are mothers that don't exist yet, right? In 100 years, there are going to be mothers on this planet? Assuming that, you know, Elon Musk is incorrect about going to Mars or whatever.
So,
But you're right. You're not wrong. I'm just pushing back. You're halfway there. You said she doesn't exist. Well, she might exist. She might not exist. But both ways, help them out.
so things
Both
that-
ways is impossible.
Things that can't exist can't do anything. If you
We gotta be loud. I don't think they can hear you there and
Yeah,
there and there.
Things that can't exist can't do anything. If you didn't exist, there's nothing you could do. Like for example.
Okay, then you go the opposite of him, but you're both like halfway. It's like put those pieces together. What if the mother does exist? There's a mother right now.
She already
It already existed. Right?
You guys get it? Everyone gets it? A mother cannot give birth to herself. Nothing can create itself because it either existed or didn't exist. And it can't happen at the same time. You can't exist and not exist at the same time. It's a logical contradiction. It's impossible. It either exists or it doesn't exist. You can't exist and not exist at the same time. To give birth to yourself or to create yourself means you didn't exist, so you can bring yourself into. I mean, you existed, so you can create something, and then you didn't exist, so you were created. Possible. Cool? For those who are interested in these topics, like logic and so on, I actually took Logic 1 and 2 at University of Houston. I think, you know, there's some things in there, I'm like, yeah, the guys are sharing, the professors are sharing his views, and I don't agree with them, which is fine. It's not. And some of it was like, understanding kind of that system, that subject, and I do recommend it if you're able to take like electives, if you're into this stuff. And logic, there's like the basic laws of logic, I think it's called Aristotle's laws, 3 laws of logic or something like that, you can Google it. But one of the like basic laws that the rest of the whole system of logic is based on. Like physics has like Newton's laws, it's basic stuff. And you don't even need to prove them. One of them is that A cannot equal to negative A. Something cannot be its opposite. If you say, no, well, how do we know this? Okay, then how are you gonna have any type of logic, you know? So yeah, so it's impossible. Just for those who are interested, yeah, it's A. In some people, logic, some things are written out as like sentences, like the lady gave birth or whatever. Is it possible? Isn't it like sometimes it's written as symbols and letters? So this is A is not equal to negative A. It's one of the basic laws of logic. You don't even need to ask for like proof. The logic is like, you know, you guys remember geometry, like 9th grade? There's like proof, but you don't need proof for A is not equal to negative A. How are you gonna prove that? Like, cool. So it's helping out. We're doing good, man. We're making progress. How you guys? Do you guys like this stuff? No? It's nerdy. Maybe I'm in the right place for nerdy, yeah? You're all nerdy as heck. I love you guys. Yeah, A is not equal to, okay. Okay. So maybe the universe came from something, which of course it is. But like God in the sky. I already said I'm not gonna repeat it, right? They made up stories. You just want to believe that there's a Rahman or Rahim. He loves you. You know, he created heaven for you. Oh, how convenient! You actually were born in heaven. You landed on earth. It sounds like. Of course it's not. But I mean, you can imagine someone saying that, right? Something created the universe, but like God, like you're making something like going rational science. In science, when you take data, what are you trying to come to? The most logical, reasonable assumption from those data or conclusion? Making the least assumptions. Yes, that's part of the scientific method. You have data. You can't just take the data and any possibility that kind of fits the data. You can take it. Right, you're making the least assumptions as possible, yeah? So like, something created the universe, oh, there's a God in the sky and heaven, it's like, yo, that's unscientific. Can you see that argument? It's not true, by the way, we'll respond to it. But you can see someone thinking like that, like, okay, so there's something created before the universe, it's logical, but you have a whole religion and you have books and scriptures, it's like, yo, you know, take it easy, like, you're assuming things. I'm just gonna go logically, rationally, we live in the modern world, we need evidence for everything. So like, something created the universe, we don't know what it is. I'm gonna be humble enough to admit I don't know. Now this person's playing with fire, because like, if you do know that God exists and you're rejecting it, that's cool. If you don't know, you don't know, but that's not good enough, I'm saying. Is as Muslims, like, getting to heaven is very easy. I know some of you guys were taught growing up, like, with all due respect to Allah, the Arabs and Desis and our communities, the immigrant community, a lot of times because of all the trauma we went through, we see religion through that trauma. We sometimes, the way we're taught Islamic studies and so on, maybe Sunday school or some khutbahs and some jum'ahs and halaqats and durus, sometimes it's taught to us as like everything, no matter what you do, you're going to hell. Unless you're like the Sahaba, then you go to heaven. Like, hopefully that's none of you guys, but if you were raised by that, no, it's not true. It's alright. And don't need to go back and like yell at your teacher or mom or dad or so on. They didn't mean that. They love you. They just, they're going through a lot. So it translates into the way we speak, which is something we have to be cautious of. But it's part of being human. That's why we have the prophets. Everyone else after that, they can make mistakes. But yeah, it's not like they're all going to hell and all that. I lost my train of thought, I'll be honest. I apologize for that. I went on like 2 or 3 tangents and I forgot, but I'll go back. Something created the universe. I think someone had their hand up. Go ahead. Bismillah. Oh, no, I thought someone had their hand up. Go
I
ahead.
have a question.
Yeah, go. Ethan, go ahead.
I know we were using a lot of logic and philosophy, kind of discussing this.
You're going to tell me about there's ayahs on this, right? Ayahs and hadiths that prove this.
Sorry.
You're going to say about there's ayahs and hadiths on this, right?
Or
no, what were you gonna say? I
What
assume.
I'm saying is that we are using a lot of philosophy and logic.
Okay.
And from the Dawah, Prophet Muhammad stuck to very much the Quran and Sunnah. And
What if I told you all this is from the Quran and Sunnah?
I mean, obviously.
And I was going to do
we
this,
can-
do this because we're at University
Yeah.
in America 2023.
I mean-
I was going to do this and then end, I was going to leave you with maybe an ayah or two or a hadith or two, which are enough, but, oh sorry, I should let you finish, go ahead.
For sure that we can prove all that from Quran and Sunnah.
100%.
But I kind of feel like obviously we should first establish Quran and Sunnah, and then we can perhaps use these arguments to say like, okay, Quran and Sunnah established this.
This is not the only way. Nothing wrong with it, 100%.
And I'm kind of also of the opinion that a lot of philosophy and logic came after Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam.
Absolutely.
And
Before and after.
when
Greek, we call it
Arabs-
Greek, ancient Greece is
Yeah,
earlier than
ancient
Prophet, but
Greeks,
yeah, both,
and
before and after.
It was the Arabs that kind of translated the books of philosophy and logic.
And with it,
obviously there was-
we sugarcoated the deen and like messed with we over philosophized,
Yeah.
philosophized deen and came to conclusions that the Sahaba would not have come to. Is that your point?
Yeah.
I agree 100%. My scholars would have the same view. But my scholars also believe that like, if you want to use it as a tool, let's say I was talking to, because everything we've talked about so far, I know, is anybody here non-Muslim? If you don't mind me asking, you don't have to answer, but anyone here non-Muslim? I can't necessarily tell, I don't know you guys, but majority, if not everyone's Muslim. Okay. But you agree that a lot of things that we've been saying and the analogies we've been using and the words and stuff, you could just literally step out there and you can talk to any of them or your professor or teachers, any of them, and the same stuff. That in of itself has value. Can you not quote ayahs and hadiths to non-Muslims or translate it to English? You can. I'm not saying it's the only way, but this is you can easily go and talk to anybody about this. And I've done it, alhamdulillah, universities, I've done country and masajid and conferences, and online, and you go on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, Twitch, Twitter, Rumble, help me out, Getter, Truth Social, and what do I miss? Snapchat. You can do this. You also can do guys hadith. I'm saying that it's powerful that it's a language. My point is that we're speaking the language of the people, not necessarily saying that this is how we came to the conclusion about Islam, or that this is like more superior knowledge than the Quran. I'm not saying any of that. Are we okay, or you still have a problem with it? You go ahead. You
I
have a
mean,
response?
I'm good with it, but I kind of feel that it's more important to mention Hadith and Quran and Sunnah. And the reason because of that is Quran itself is a miracle.
Okay, how
And
about
when
you?
you kind of recite the verses and stuff, that kind of appeals to any non-believer.
Okay, you
And-
speak to a non-Muslim, you quote a hadith.
Huh?
You
Yeah,
speak
you
to
can say like
okay.
you can say it like a saying that happened with Prophet Muhammad.
Okay, and what if they say,
And then-
who's Muhammad? And you say, and be like, all right, okay, cool. And in their mind, they walk away from the conversation thinking, he believes this guy's a prophet, I don't believe he's a prophet. So,
And then you can quote the miracles that Prophet Muhammad
okay.
performed.
Beautiful, yeah, exactly. So we're on the same, I just want to make sure, this is good, this is a great point. So what I was taking you guys through, which is not going to all happen in 1 hour, I mean, I don't know, I don't mind sitting for hours, but most likely it will happen today, but I can always come back. And I didn't come up with this, but it's a workshop given around the world and courses online, but I thought it was working perfectly fine, huh? I guess it was already right now. And inshallah you guys will remember, it's very easy to remember. I'll just say that. GORAP, GORAP. It's easy to remember, but it's an acronym. God's existence, which is what we're doing, and we're kind of almost done in a sense. O for oneness. Who said Tawheed earlier? It was you. Oneness. Revelation, Quran, proving that Quran is the word of Allah. So when you quote an ayah, the person understands what you're saying. Because if they don't believe it's the Quran, then it's not the same. Doesn't mean it's not so powerful in and of itself. I agree, but knowing that it's Allah's words is different, right? So Revelation, and A for and, P prophethood, proving that the Prophet is telling the truth that he's a prophet. So yeah, it takes maybe 2-3 hours, maybe 45 minutes. It's kind of short to go through all of it. But once you do that, then you quote any ayah, any hadith, and so on. If the person disagrees with that ayah or hadith, that's their problem. If they don't understand it or think that there's a different interpretation or different scholars or different methods, that's all fine. But the majority of it is very clear cut in the ayahs and hadith. It makes sense to them, whether they're Muslim or non-Muslim. Because you said, like, we have logical, reasonable reasons to believe that God exists in the first place. It's also part of the fitrah. You didn't say that, but maybe you believe that as well, which is a fact. part of our nature. We're born as babies believing this stuff. That's fine. But we're also in a society where the 99% are non-Muslim. So what happened between 5 years old to college, right? Okay. So God's existence, oneness, revelation, and prophethood. I'm sorry, guys, the markers are failing, but anyways, guys, do you mind if we continue? We bring up good points. Can we continue?
We can continue with what?
I want to continue with this, yeah.
I mean, I agree this, but I've heard from a lot of Salaf as well as scholars that philosophy
They
is
can do
not
it.
something that we should stress so much upon. Rather than it was not the prayer of Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, it was the Quran and Sunnah that used to recite and held to the front of Makkah and wherever he gave da'wah.
Orthodox traditional scholars that believe in following the Salaf and following the Sahaba, they've disagreed on, can we use the philosophy as a, none of them are disagreeing, or like whether the Quran and Sunnah is superior over everything else. You're not even really Muslim if you don't believe that, or you're ignorant. Scholars don't disagree on that, but they disagree on like philosophy using it as a tool or not. Some said it's better not to, for reasons, that's fine. Others have said that it's good to do it. And their response would be like, Prophet didn't use it, okay, but he also didn't use a car. You say, no, but this is ibadah, this is da'wah, it's not like using, one second, I'm sorry, this is a debate, right? There's arguments on both sides. Others will say that's not a good analogy, you know, that's not that kind of thing because it's part of the deen, you're giving da'wah as part of the ibadah, you can't have bid'ahs in the religion. Fine, but the response to that is, Prophet didn't speak in philosophical terms, but in Arabia, did they have philosophy? What if he, maybe, we don't know, but what if he was in Athens instead of he was in Mecca, you know what I'm saying? So it's a, scholars debate this.
So
He was speaking the language, he would say things, for example, he spit once in his hand and said, okay, guys, we're all adults, right? But it looks kind of like sperm or semen, right? He's like, the one who, person came up to him and said, he had like bones in his hand, like from like someone just died or whatever, or like a grave, he pulled out like bones or something. He said, do you think, you believe in a God that's going to bring us back once we're like this? And he crushed the bone or something, and like it was like, right? So it's like once we're this, we're going to come back, because they want to live their life and do whatever they want, right? They want to party, and they want to believe in a hereafter. So do you think God's going to bring you back like this? And he thought on the spot, which is genius. He spit, and he's like, the one who created you from what looks like that can definitely bring you back when you look like that. And dude, the guy was like, so it was not philosophical terms, but that appealed to the Bedouin Arab. Like he's speaking their language, it's okay. Just because he didn't use terms doesn't mean he didn't use English, didn't use logic as a language, doesn't mean that it's wrong necessarily to do so. We should be very cognizant of what the Prophet did or didn't do, but just because he didn't do it, it's not necessarily wrong, is what the other scholars would say. Disagreement. Can we continue?
yeah.
Yeah, he did that. He took a stick and drew in the sand and did analogies. He did what? He used his hands a lot. He wrote letters to different kings and leaders, and there's a lot of things he did, but it was everything he did made sense in his time period, in his context. He stood in certain places in Mecca or outside of Mecca that everyone understands. When you speak there, that's like big news. You speak in front of the Kaaba, everyone should remember it. That's like the Facebook marketplace on the top, whatever. You speak on this mountain, it's like, yo, there's a battle, there's an army coming. He said, there's an army coming. So he did everything made sense. So you can't be like, oh, you can't be on Facebook or Instagram. No, there's a lot of reasons not to be on there. There's a bunch of nonsense on there. But saying it's like a bit, I have to use Facebook, Instagram for da'wah because like a Prophet didn't use it. I'm not saying you are. I'm saying that you know, someone could be well-intentioned and have those views, but with all due respect, they're not correct. But we want to continue, please. Something created the universe. Where are we? Yeah, so no one's really responded to how do we not know that like it's the stuff about like the Quran, Sunnah, and the God and the prophets, all that are made up stories just like the other previous, you know, other like mythologies. Something created the universe. But how do you know it's God? What if it's just? What if we're assuming by saying it's God? Is that the next logical option? God.
Like, there's been a proper chain of passing down, like, the sunnah.
Oh, we're now on a completely different. Bro, remember how we started this? There's nothing. Going back in time. The universe, there's nothing. Of course, there was Allah only, but yeah. The beginning of the Big Bang, with the beginning of the universe. So we're right there focusing on right before the Big Bang. What created the Big Bang? What created the universe? Where did the universe come from? There's no Quran and Sunnah yet. You know, the Quran's been there since forever, but that's not the point. The prophets are not here. Humanity hasn't started. Stay focused. I know it's a lot, but
So if something created the universe, it's either
you gotta be loud so they can hear you. You're making good points,
If
mashallah.
something created the universe, it's either God or not God. And if it was not God, that means it too had a origin, which means you have to explain that.
You gotta give me this class, bro.
And if you argue that there's an infinite chain of such things, it doesn't matter whether
Uh-oh.
or not there is or isn't. At some point, you still need an uncaused being, which we call God.
There's two possibilities. So the universe, we said there's four possibilities. Nothing itself, something. Something is A and B, part A and B, like two different possibilities of something. Everything fits in one of those two. Something could be a billion, infinite amount of things, but there's only two possibilities, or two boxes, two categories of something. Either something created or something uncreated. He said either God or not God. It's almost the same thing, but something uncreated, like God, or something like the universe, created. We know the universe is created because what? Going back, there's nothing there. It started as a starting point, right? Something created the universe. So either something that created the universe is like the universe. I'm definitely losing some of you, but that's okay. Hey, don't feel bad. And although many of you, I'm sure, are following, but if you somehow thought like you lost this a little bit ago, or you think like it's too much, you can't understand it, I promise you this is true. I attended a workshop on this, my freshman year in college. I knew from as soon as it was Hamza Sortis, who's heard the name. Ustad Hamza Sortis is based in the UK. He's great, you know what I'm talking about? I heard from his book on atheism, fantastic. His videos online, debates, he's great. It was in person. I was attending it. As soon as he started speaking, and I saw some of his videos. As soon as he started, I knew right away that like this is like powerful stuff. I was in freshman year in college 10 years ago. Everyone's talking about atheism more than today, right? And I knew I needed this. I listened to the whole thing and just absorbed it. And I remembered like I lost track and I didn't remember everything, the details. I took that same class with him when he came back next semester in my same college. And then I get it now. And then I went, alhamdulillah, I shared it with now thousands and thousands of students. So don't feel bad if like you're not following every word that I'm saying. It's okay. And also it's recorded online from me and from many other people. So if you just find it interesting, you can go back to it. But we're saying two types of something. Uncreated or created. Not a space. Uncreated, I can just put URC, but yeah. We're saying something created is like the universe. Yeah, universe 1, let's say this is universe 1. Maybe universe 2 created universe 1. There's another universe that created this universe. But like he's saying there's a problem then. Okay, well, then we'll ask the same thing. What created universe 2? Was it nothing? It's also, or maybe something, another universe. What created that? Oh, maybe it was another universe, or it could be anything. A rock, a planet, a human being, a meteor, whatever. Something created the universe. Something that's uncreated, something that's created, like the universe. The problem with that is, it goes to, so what's wrong with that? It goes to infinity. You can also go, what created something that created something that created the universe? What created something that why is that a problem? What's wrong with that? Maybe it goes to infinity, so? Muslims are like, haha, it goes to infinity. Okay, but well, maybe it does go to infinity, so? What if there's an infinite amount of things that create the universe?
We just argued that there had to be a beginning, so then infinity wouldn't.
Does there have to be a beginning? That I argued there has to be a beginning? I don't remember that. Did I? There has to be a beginning. Did I? I remember this started with science is telling us the universe began to exist. Therefore, these are the options, right? I didn't say there has to be a beginning. I said that science is showing us that the universe has. If the universe has been here to infinity, yeah, this whole thing doesn't make sense. Unless he might correct me, I might be wrong on that. But I think this whole thing is based on the fact the universe has a starting point. So what started it? Yeah. But no. Now we're making this. This is a lot. It's a lot simpler than we're making it confusing. When I summarize it at the very end, you'll understand it's very simple.
Well, if everything was dependent on something that didn't lead to something independent, then nothing would ever exist.
Okay, well, even you got me this time. Now I was like, I wasn't following, but simple, guys, simple. Why can't it go to infinity? If it goes to infinity, you'll never have universe 1. It's that simple. I'll tell you how. And then Q&A, or that's it? We're done. Everyone has to go.
I don't think we have time.
Okay, at least it's somewhat interactive. I wanted to have Q&A. I love Q&As, but that's okay. I'm here till Friday. Shall I give the khutbah here? How about after the khutbah? People probably have to go to class. But if after the khutbah, I'm chilling. I think the flight is like at night. After the khutbah, what if I sat and anyone has questions and answers on anything, we can discuss. Cool? Because right now, you guys, I assume everyone has class now, right? Well, I'm here to hang out as well after. But real quickly, yeah, the universe began to, what was it? Yeah. Okay, favorite sport. Cricket, soccer, basketball. You're on the free throw line. It works in every sport. You use any sport. Whatever, you're talking to someone, an Muslim, your friend, you're going through the logic or whatever, you just say, what's your favorite sport, okay? Basketball, you're on the free throw line. Let's say the rules are, hypothetically, you got to ask the captain before you can take that shot. He has to ask the ref, who has to ask your coach, who has to ask the NBA, who has to ask the president of the United States. Let's say it goes on to infinity. Will you ever get to shoot? No, if it goes to infinity. Let's say I'm in the stands. It's a hypothetical world, right? I'm in the stands and I'm watching, I came to watch you play, right? You're on the free throw line. I'm watching, I see you throw the ball. What do I know? I see you shoot, I know what? Someone give you permission. It couldn't have gone to infinity. In this example, shooting the ball, kicking the ball, baseball. Hamza used the example of there's a lieutenant in the army, there's a general, a commander-in-chief, it goes on to infinity. Same thing, you want to pull the trigger, shoot the sniper. Doesn't matter what example you use, dominoes, falling, whatever example you want to use. Yeah? What is the example? What is the analogy? You shooting the ball is what? Shooting the ball is what in terms of our language? That was an analogy. Shooting the ball, we say you did shoot the ball, if there's permission given, the universe exists. So if I see you shoot the ball, I know that someone gave you permission. There was an uncreated creator, there was a starting point, it couldn't have gone on to infinity. Is that confusing or? Kind of. If there was no uncreated creator, if this thing was infinity, you'll never have this universe. Look at dominoes. The dominoes are going here, and they wrap around the building that I can't see. Like it could be one domino past the door, like that way, and it could be a million I can't know. But I'm listening and waiting, I see them fall. I know there was a person who pushed it, or there's a starting. It couldn't have gone into infinite dominoes. It'll never fall this way. Okay? If there was, it has to be. So it can't be nothing. It can't be itself. Something has to be something uncreated. It can't be something created. Something created, there's the same problem. You have to go back to the logic again and again. It has to eventually stop at something uncreated. Something uncreated, like God. Well, who created God? Uncreated. You can't ask who created the uncreated creator. It's uncreated, by definition. You, by definition, have to have an uncreated creator. That's your starting point. Or else you'll never be able to throw the basketball. You'll never be able to shoot the hoop. You'll never get to our universe. The universe wouldn't exist if it goes on to infinity. There has to be a starting point that said, all right, shoot the ball. There has to be a God who created the universe. By definition, there necessarily exists a creator. If the universe exists, if we agree, maybe in this room we had atheists, agnostics, Christian, Jewish, Muslim, whatever. It doesn't even matter. If they all can agree that the universe exists, that we're not imagining this, it's not like the Matrix or whatever, but like there's an actual universe, we can touch it, feel it, see it, then by definition, and that the universe had a starting point, the Big Bang, like it hasn't been here to infinity, then by definition there has to be an uncreated creator. If the universe exists, God has to exist. Khatam? God.
So, if I'm understanding correctly,
Yeah.
like, are you saying like, if the question itself is wrong, like saying who created God, it just
Yeah,
doesn't make
it
sense?
is. It's not just we're arguing about words. It actually makes no sense. If the God is defined as the uncreated creator, who created the uncreated creator? It's like why does the triangle have 4 sides? Well, you don't know how to answer that question? Oh, you're dumb. Like, bro, what kind of question? Who created? Why does this triangle have 4 sides? Sometimes the question is wrong. You can't ask why does triangle have 4 sides. It doesn't have 4 sides. Sometimes the question, we have a confidence issue in this screen. Anyone asks any question, oh, how are we gonna answer it? Like, sometimes the question is dumb, man. Sometimes it's illogical. You can't ask who created the uncreated creator. Who created the uncreated creator? It's not created. Nobody. Nothing created it. Well, how is it possible? Well, how do you know? Okay, the universe exists. A universe has a creator, but how come God doesn't? It doesn't make sense. Oh, it does. It absolutely makes sense. The universe, there's a Big Bang. There's a beginning. So therefore, there's some of these options can't create something. The universe, God, he doesn't go through this logic. It's an uncreated creator. You don't ask, well, it doesn't have a starting point. Allah does not have a starting point. So you don't ask what started it. There's no starting point. It makes sense. By definition, if the universe exists and has a starting point, there has to be something that's uncreated. Now, it could be like 10 universes, then God. It could be 7 or 8, but why are you going to assume that? Go back to science and Allah. It's irrational. So uncreated creator, it's the universe, us, our universe, created by uncreated creator. God, right? Actually, it says universe. What's wrong with this? Universe, God. You're not going to assume that there's universe 1, universe 10 or 9 or 15 or 365, then there's God. Then you're assuming that's illogical, irrational, and unscientific. The universe exists, scientifically, logically, rationally, there's a God that created it. It's super simple. And Allah says in the Quran, أَمْ خُلِقُوا مِنْ غَيْرِ شَيْءٍ, brother. Allah says in the Quran, أَمْ خُلِقُوا مِنْ غَيْرِ شَيْءٍ أَمْ هُمُ الْخَالِقُونَ. No. أَمْ خُلِقُوا مِنْ غَيْرِ شَيْءٍ أَمْ هُمُ الْخَالِقُونَ أَمْ خَلَقُوا السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ بَلْ لَا يُوقِنُونَ. They created themselves, they created the universe, they got no idea, they got no clue. Same logic from there. Came from Muslim philosophers and scientists who got it from the Quran. Go ahead.
I don't know if we have time.
He's the president.
So I'm not sure if you answered this already, but
Nope,
you
no
said
problem.
that God created the universe. How do you know that God is like our God, but not like
Yeah.
Roman gods or something?
Well, so you're saying that we did not disprove Christianity, Judaism, other religions that believe in monotheism? Yeah, because we didn't get that far yet. But it's God's existence, oneness, then you basically were talking about Islam, and definitely when you get to which is Tawheed, like we said, Tawheed. Tawheed, yeah, that's God's oneness or Tawheed. God's existence, which is what we just did. God's existence. And then Revelation, oh, this one is better. Why didn't I use this in the first place? And prophethood. Revelation, Quran, basically. And then Salah, etc. But so Islam versus other monotheist religions becomes clear here and here. But God's existence, yeah, Christians, we're not the only ones who believe in God's existence. And yes, it's Islamic foundations of the rational foundation of Islam was the topic, but we only got through one piece of it. If you invite me back, we'll continue, inshallah. And it's online, it's all online.
Jazakallah
Yeah, it was
khair
an honor.
for coming. And we have a lot of pizza left over, so please take some on your way out. And there is a class here, so try to make it fast. Thank you.
Johnny Marcus.
Oh yeah, and then we have those prayer mats here. You guys can grab one. It's like a small portable prayer mat.